Yeah, great job, Mike.
Nice job.
Well done. Well done. That must have taken a lot of effort to put that together.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Okay. That's the end. Let me get back to the beginning. Okay. And Kathleen, if you want to comment.
Okay.
Need a title. Need a title.
Beauty on the go.
Okay. Michelle, let me ask you this. Hello. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks. Will you be forwarding them for us? So I'll tell you when I'm finished talking about it.
Okay.
Okay. So, and is this where I say hold or not?
Yeah. I'll kick in there, Michelle, just to help out. You're just going to make a comment like you've always done in the past so well, and then you're going to say, I don't need to review this, or I'll keep it for now. And then you'll take the keep it for nows at the very end. Michelle will put them all together, and you'll go through them again and pick out the ones that you've picked out. You could change your mind too. So yeah, at the very end you'll say, I don't need to see this further, and then, or you could say, well, let's keep it for now. That kind of thing. You don't mention, of course, who won or any ribbons. You just go through them like that. But make comments first, and then that's how you do it.
Okay, just want to make sure I got the buzzwords right.
Right, the buzzwords, yeah.
Yeah, I love this shot. And remember, everybody, if you don't know me from before, judging is always subjective. It's personal. It's not the word from God. So just take what I say as somebody who's just an old hand at this stuff. And I used to do photo editing. So here we are. I love the shot. It's really clean. It's got a nice depth of field, so you get a nice soft background. And the composition is really nice. It's nice and sharp. And I don't think that sharpness is always a necessity. I know a lot of people think I've got to get it as sharp as possible so I can go in there with a microscope and examine the finest pixel. Sometimes that's important, sometimes it's not. It's just it depends on the image. And it also depends on what it's being used for. If it's a fine art piece or if it's commercial, if it's for a client, then more likely than not, they want to have an image that's super sharp because they want to show off their product. But that kind of stuff changes over the years. So mitigate everything I say with with all the aforementioned disclaimers. So I think this shot's great composition. I like the way the powder puff moves toward the center and kind of offsets the say the negative space on the right hand side of the image. So great shot. Let's move on to the next.
You want to hold this?
No.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
Who said that?
I did. Didn't you want to hold that one?
Why do you think I want to hold that one?
Because you had such wonderful things to say about it.
You know what? Everything that I've seen, all these are just fantastic.
Okay.
They really are. Now, I'm wondering if we want to make this a dialogue. I'm not sure who said that, but is this your image?
No.
Let me interject. Sorry. I think when you said hold, that could be I want to keep it or not keep it. So let's just say you need to decide which ones you want to keep or not keep. Now, the ones you keep, doesn't necessarily mean they have to get a ribbon or not. They're just, you feel they're at the quality that whatever your subjective standards are and your whatever that is.
Okay, so keep or not keep.
It's like your short list.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
When I said move on, that meant not keep.
Okay.
The previous one is a not keep.
Okay.
Even though I love it.
Okay. Okay.
So now we're on the cupcakes.
Good.
Birthday cakes. the tiny print on our screen. This is great for circles. It's wonderful. Great color, really nice composition. The happy birthday down the bottom is kind of a nice explanatory statement. And the reason that I'm not keeping this one is because even though it is a complicated image, I still want to see something else that it's saying. So some of the other images that I see say a little bit more. They're beyond the surface. And that's where you get into fine art or commercial art. So I'm judging these, since these are abstract, since these are circles, I'm looking at these more from the eyes of fine art rather than commercial art. But I'm keeping in mind both, because I think the technique that's critical in commercial photography is just as important with fine art photography. So not keep.
Blue glasses.
Yeah. This one, I mean, this could be in the Museum of Modern Art. It's a great shot. I love the contrast between the blue and the subtle apricot or orange color. And the offset circles make it very interesting. Your eye keeps moving and you wonder if they're buttons or breasts or what they are. But even though I love this image, I'm not going to keep it. So we can move on to the next one. Okay, this one too is, okay, bubbly. I really like this. A lot of activity, a lot going on. It's definitely circles. And the composition is almost monochromatic. It's almost a wave field. So there's a lot of repetition. And although I really love this one for the color and the contrast of the pale blue and even the reflections, I mean, it's just extremely well done, well taken. It has to have a really good eye to see this and to capture all of that. But I'm going to move on to the next one. This is a not keep.
Bursting open.
This one I found to be exciting, but I want to look at it a little closer. I want to keep this one. But I even took this image and played with it a little bit just to get the colors a little bit more vibrant. I cropped the outside, and I always hesitate to do something with someone else's work, but I think this is also we learn from one another. So look at that image, whoever did it, and crop it and then enhance it. Some people believe in using Photoshop and Lightroom and those other enhancements, but they're tools. They're tools of the trade. And whether you're a purist in one way or not, I believe in the image is what you're after. I don't believe in being unethical, but I think if you can get a better image by using a tool in Photoshop or Lightroom or something else, even taking the print and cutting it out and putting it on to something else, I think that's okay. So I would suggest bringing out the white, the little white filaments or whatever they are on the edge of this, because that says so much about the character of this organism, this living organism. And I want to go in closer to it. So I would enhance the contrast just a little bit, not too much. And maybe also the color, maybe make that just a little bit more vibrant. And I know that having vibrant colors is in vogue right now because we can. And so everybody's just making colors so super vibrant and they jump out at you. And they're not really what we see in nature, but it's fun and it's beautiful too. So, because they're the colors of electricity, they're not necessarily the colors we see with light reflected on something. So that's my suggestion for this, and I want to keep this one.
Okay. Center point.
Yeah, this is, I think this is really beautiful. And the, with some of the images, there's a circle or a spiral. And if you go toward the center of the circle or the spiral, your eye is drawn into the center and you want to look for something, you want to find something. And with this particular one, there's blue sky. And that's, you found it, you found blue sky. And with all these other shades of blue. And I like the contrast of the almost turquoise sky with the baby blue of this glass ceiling. So this is, I want to keep this one. And I love the clarity of this too. That's really nice.
Okay. Circles.
This one, it's just beautiful. I personally love peacock feathers. And the thing I love about peacock feathers is that I think are their essence is that iridescence. And to be able to capture that iridescence is, I think, the key to it. And I really love this image, but I think to capture the essence of the peacock feather is to capture a little bit more vibrancy and to capture a little bit of that shimmer. So I think the way the light is cast on these, and you may have taken it, at a farm and maybe the light wasn't just exactly right, but maybe try it again and go to get one peacock feather and play with it. Get stoned and look at a peacock feather. And you can do that on your own. You don't really need drugs to get stoned. Just the delight in seeing something in all of its vibrancy. In a peacock feather, it's almost like the ultimate of that shimmer and iridescence. So although I love this and I love peacock feathers, and I think it's a beautiful image, and it certainly is circles, I'm not gonna keep this one.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Coasters.
Yeah, this is so clean and so simple. And I'm going to keep this one. but this one sings with, I just love the sharpness of this. You see the essence of what it's made of, whether it's chrome or platinum or silver. You really see that shininess. And then to see the reflection in the bottom is just really a lovely counterpoint. So that's definitely a keeper. Nice composition. Nice in both ways.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's move on. It's a keeper.
Diana at Rest.
Yeah. I really like this one. I think it's a beautiful composition. The balance of the almost a negative space to the right with that black gown that she's wearing. But the thing that bothers me about this is she looks so uncomfortable. And pardon me? But give me your feedback if you're the one that took this. I'm not sure if that's how you do this, but the way her feet are, she just looks, it's unsettling to me. And maybe it's supposed to be unsettling. But I zoomed in on it, and then I actually cropped it right above her knee so that I saw her arm extended. And I really like it when it's cropped, but of course then it's only a fourth of a circle, right? And we want maybe a full circle, I don't know. But that's the only thing about this one that that would keep me from keeping this one. So think about how the model, because I've been on both sides of the camera's lens, and if I'm comfortable, then it makes a much better picture. But I also know that if I have to get into, I had to play a dead person one time, yet still be kneeling up on top of Stone Mountain. And that was it was an awkward picture. So maybe think about having her just recumbent at the bottom of this, and then flip the photo. She could be recumbent and then have her hand come up above her head and her arm still over her head. But try different, I don't know how many shots you did of this, but try different ideas, and also let your model work with you if you can do that. So I'm not going to keep this, but I love it. Let's move on.
Effective frequency. This is a composite. Yeah,
this is interesting because when I saw it as the thumbnail with all the rest of them, my eye didn't go to it and say, oh, let me see what that looks like. But when I blew it up, it's the subtlety of it. It's just lovely. I think it's just the gradation between the different. I think of them as like a music staff, and the eyeballs being notes. It has a lot of interpretations metaphorically, and it's well done. It's a composite, so you've sandwiched it nicely. So I think I'll keep this one. So let's move on to the next one.
Grunau 2P.
Yeah. This, I think, is a really interesting shot, too. I like the colors, the way the gold or the brass pops out. But I'd like to see the brass pop out just a little bit more. And you have the highlight on the right where there's a piece of round hardware. And your eye will always go to the lightest spot of an image. So the eye is going to the two white spots that are in the dial, but it will also go to the sort of the blue spot at the top of the image, but then the larger, whiter highlight that's on the right side, lower right. And the lighting of this can be so tricky because it's probably a glass face because we see the reflections. And photographing glass, as we all know, this is really tricky. So maybe, and it looks like that's kind of a harsh light that's going maybe behind your camera. Think about doing, using a gauze or a reflecting scrim, a softer light from both sides so that you don't get the glare of the light from putting the light right in front of your image, because you've got glass and then you've got a lacquered surface that will give you the same kind of glare. So I think it's a real interesting concept and an interesting shot, but I think I'd play around with it a little bit more with different lighting. So I'll not keep this one.
Inside the Falcon.
This is a beautiful shot, and I love the fact that it's a combination of white and grays, and then you've got your eye goes right to the center of this, and you've got a soft blue, sort of almost a turquoise. But it seems I really like it, but I think it needs just a little bit more definition, because it just seems to be fading out a little bit too much. Maybe if it's a really large image, if I saw it on a much larger canvas, it would be different. And it's also the way it's printed. So I still want to keep this one though.
Okay. Jurassic Arcs.
I recognize it. Great shot. It's definitely answers the circle, and you're just drawn right into all the intricacies of the circles and the arches, Roman curves. So I think this is definitely a keeper, because there's a lot of interest going on and you don't really get lost. You just are drawn in, and it's clean, and you've kept terrific focus both in the foreground and in the very back of the room. I guess this is Fernbank. So yeah, let's keep this one.
Okay. Landing on a Daisy.
Yeah, this is lovely. It's just a magic moment to capture these two these two little insects on a flower, on the edge of a flower. And with this, I'm not going to keep it, even though I think it's just a magic moment, because there needs to be a little bit more focus. I want to look at these little critters and see more of them. And in the flower, it's a little bit burnt out in the white part of the flower. So try to work on just shooting just put it on automatic and click, 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 sports mode. And then you might be able to capture the focus with this. So magic moment, but I'm not going to keep this one.
Okay. Lost Torque.
I think this is a really well done shot, and the interesting variation of tones and the way that you've kept the sharpness, especially in the left-hand side, and it's still pretty clear on the right side too. It's a beautiful shot. It certainly answers the circle too. I'll keep this one.
Okay. Midas Wife. This is a composite.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a really interesting shot, and I connect with it. And this is what I'm talking about, as far as it's not just a surface shot. It's not a clean, nice, super sharp surface shot. It's got a lot more going on in it that makes you think. And that, I think, is what we can work towards. To why are we doing these shots? What are we saying? I think that's the important question. If we're doing it for a client, that's one thing. But if we do them just for ourselves, what does it say about us as people? What are we doing here in this life? What is it we want to do with our images? We don't have to necessarily change the world, but we can convey a feeling or a thought, maybe even a philosophy of sort. So I think this is a well done shot. No, it's a composite. I think that's great. Don't know how many. Be interesting to find out. Maybe 4, maybe 2, maybe 3. So let's definitely keep this one.
Okay. Put out to pasture.
Yeah, I like the combination of the title with this, because it makes you think. Sometimes the titles don't really matter, and then sometimes they really do. And this is nice and clean and well done, and you just keep looking at it, and you realize the intricacy of the design and the materials and what's happened to them and its history. It speaks volumes. So it's a nice composition. It's just zoomed in right to the inner workings. So let's keep this.
Okay. Reds.
Reds, yeah. This is an interesting shot too. I like the subtlety of the red background with the mirror reflecting more reds. But I'd like to see something in more sharp focus, either the flowers that are reflected or the grill work of the mirror. So I think it's a good beginning, but I think it could be sharpened up. See how your camera works as far as different settings, so that you can get at least the foreground or the background, if you will, the reflected image, in really sharp focus. One or the other, preferably both. So I'll not keep this one. Let's see the next one.
Seashells. This is a composite.
Yeah, I think this is this is a great shot. This says a lot, and we've got the circles, a lot of them, and they're hidden. This is playful and it's serious, and it makes you think. And that splash of turquoise, almost like a red carpet, but it's turquoise. This is just a great shot. I think it's very well done. So let's keep this.
Okay. The Juggler. This is also a composite.
Yeah, and at first, this one, did not jump out at me when it, when it's a thumbnail, but when I opened it up and looked at it, I thought, wow, this is really nice. Sometimes subtlety is more powerful than a punch in the face or the gut. And this is the way the reflection, if it, the image on the left, how subtle that is in contrast to the one on the right. It's a mysterious, misty world, and she's juggling worlds. So, and I think the softness of the grays and the lavender are really lovely. So I'm going to keep this one. Nice composition. Nice technique.
The message.
Yeah, this is, I love this shot. This is great. I mean, has everybody read this? It's really a groundbreaker. And, it's one thing to photograph something that somebody else has created. It's like this is given. The creativity is not in the photographer's realm initially, but whoever photographed this saw that this was pretty powerful and groundbreaking. And I mean, the UK Pavilion, who would guess that the United Kingdom would do this, unless they were familiar with the Beatles, of course. So, and Chaucer and all those other boys and girls. So I think this is definitely a keeper because you've really kept a nice background, whether that was there or whether you just obliterated all the other stuff going on. But you've got a wonderful, clean, and also readable image, because that's what this whole thing is about. It's about the poetry of it. So whoever photographed this saw the depth of it and captured the whole depth of it. So this is a keeper.
Sorry. Next.
Okay.
Lunar eclipse, blood moon.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk to the photographer about this. I am going to just simply assume that the photographer who submitted this took every one of these images and then combined them. So I think this is phenomenal. It's a great shot. So clarity, of course, the composition. Who could ask for anything more? Just a beautiful shot. Extremely well done. Says a lot. Okay, I'll keep this one.
Okay, and the last one for color, yellow tube sponge.
Yeah, I think this is a really nice composition, and it's interesting, the variation in the texture, and it's mysterious. It's coming out of the depths of the ocean. But with this, I think it tends to be a bit dark, at least where I'm seeing it on my screen. I mean, if it was printed, I might be able to see a little bit more, especially in the upper right. But I think that this could be enhanced by maybe cropping it a little bit, because you don't really need all this blackness in the lower left and the lower right. And you could cut off some of it at the top and on the right side. And then, like the flower bud that I was talking about, crop it, get to the meat of the matter, get to the heart of the matter, the essence of this. So don't be afraid to come in and really show the essence of what it is you're seeing and what you want someone else to see. And maybe bring out the light bring out some more highlights on these sponges, because the structure of these sponges is just fascinating. So I think this one has a lot of possibilities to go in and play with it some. So I'm not going to keep this one though.
Okay. So that is the end of our color.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the black and white. Do y'all see a photo?
Not yet.
Okay, I need to stop sharing then and then share again.
Okay.
You see a photo now?
Yes.
Okay. Bird bath vortex.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think this is a real interesting shot. Love the way you've gotten the reflection on the water as it goes into the vortex. The thing that everything about the shot I really like and think it works. But the bird on the left-hand side, especially since the name of it is bird, it does say bird, but it bothers me that that bird is not in better focus. And it's so I would try to get it if because of the lighting is already there and you don't have any extra lights with you, you maybe move to another side so that the bird is more in focus, and maybe you can see more that it's a bird, because right now it's not really defined, and the rest of it is so nice and clear. So, and it doesn't bother me that the close edge in the foreground of the fountain, the bird bath, is not in focus, but having the bird not in focus, that kind of gives me a push-pull. So, love it, but I'm not going to keep this one.
Okay. Next is Brickle Bright.
Extremely well done shot. Beautiful focus, beautiful contrast of your lights and darks. In this one, this is one that I want to see something else. I want to go to another level. I mean, I know it's got physical levels, but I want something that takes my mind to more levels. And this is, I mean, you could sell this for several $1,000s to whoever built this. This is a great commercial shot. So even though it's a terrific technical shot, I think I'm going to move on, because I think there's some other ones that say more.
Okay. Circle of Hakataim. This is a composite.
Yeah, I looked up that word and found several possibilities, but the word really wasn't the stumbling block. But I find this very intriguing. At first, when it was a thumbnail, I didn't reach out to it, but this is one of those examples where subtlety just carries so much weight because of the levels and the nuances in it. I mean, look at this. Can you blow that up? Can you zoom in on it? So we see a hand knife.
Yeah.
And then we see these tapers that are lit, and they're almost like knives themselves. And then these figures are very mysterious. At first, they look like women in burqas. And then you look closer, the figure on the right has a noose around its neck. And then you look to the feet of that one. No feet. She's floating. And then move up and look to the figure to her left. And then move up just a little bit. So you see she's floating as well. I mean, you can see that those are not really shoulders. It looks like they're bricks or blocks. And I mean, the metaphors in this are just, they keep going on. And look who the fellow is, the poster on the wall. Look closely at that. So this is, and then look at the third figure, the light one that's between. That figure it could be a man or a woman, but it's naked. Just very subtly. But is that the emperor with no clothes? Or is it a woman who's been stripped of her burqa? Or the essence of those behind the burqas, or those in a prison room, and the room itself almost looks like a prison. It's a tight enclosure, and it looks like there's no exit. But they're headed towards this this KLU. What's the clue? These people could also be Klan members. So, but there are barriers there right below the letters KLU, and the KLU looks somewhat makeshift, and it almost looks like it's mysterious what's behind those barriers. So I think this is a pretty powerful photograph, even though it's very soft and subtle. So this is a keeper.
Okay. Uh-oh. I think I messed things up with, okay, there we go. Circles 2.
Okay, I think this is a nicely done photograph. Even the frame that you have around it, I think, blends nicely with the image itself. You've done a nice job of depth of field. But I'd like to see a little bit more in the image. I mean, so I think this is a well done shot, but I'm not going to keep this one.
Okay. Circles 3.
Okay, another very well done shot. You've got a lot of subtleties, even in the lights. Really nice job of the focusing and clarity, and the composition is dynamic. But okay, I'll keep this one.
Okay. Circles 4.
Well done shot. Nice hats. And it's a nice clean shot. But for this competition, I'd like to see these hats saying something else. I think this would be we could sell this to the hat company. It's a great ad shot. So I think it's a great shot. I'd buy it if I was selling those hats, but I think I'm going to move on, not keep this one.
Okay. Cert du Mobilier.
Yeah. I love this. very simple, nice and clean, but I love the way the shadows move around it like a clock. It keeps your eye moving, but it's just a really well done shot. So I love the contrast, composition, light start, technique, but just that it moves, and it says a lot about the sun and the sundial and time. So I'll keep this one.
Okay.
This is hard because all these are so good. I'd love to talk to each one of you about your images. All right, this one, yeah. This is
Coriolis effect. This is a composite.
Yeah, this is a really interesting shot. I like the balance between the upper part of the composite as well as the reflection, and just the way it's broken up with the landscape and then moves out, almost like it's moving out to an ocean or maybe sand dunes. But it's one of those things that you can interpret in a lot of different ways, in where they're facing and which way they're facing. So definitely keep this one.
Okay. Dubai Eye.
Yeah, this is really well done. Is this a composite too?
No.
Okay. I thought that I'd seen. Okay, because I don't see the title on this, but that's okay. Yeah, really well done shot. I love the subtle light coming in from the upper right to just those subtle grays, and just a wonderful composition. And you've managed to keep a lot of gradations. You haven't blown anything out, and you haven't made anything too dark. So it's well done. Let's keep this one.
Okay. Dubrovnik Cathedral.
Okay, this is one. I looked at several that had a circle or a, as I said before, or a spiral. And this one, I think, maintains interest because of its antiquity, because of its crumbling aspect. And your eye is drawn right to the center of that circle, the upper portion. And you look at it closer, and you see it's also disintegrating and falling apart. The light around the light. So I think this is it's a beautiful and sad shot at the same time. So I'm going to keep it.
Okay. Guggenheim, looking up.
Mm-hmm. Really well done shot. Really nice. Nice and crisp, and the reflections are nice and subtle and soft, but you've maintained a really nice balance between the lights and darks. So I'm going to keep this one too.
Okay. Heavenly Peace.
This is an interesting shot. You've got nice lighting on her face, and I'm wondering if her nudity is gratuitous, if it's I'm not a prude at all, but I just wonder what I wonder sometimes. I'm wondering out loud if people enter nudes hoping that there'll be a guy who loves it, or maybe a lesbian who loves it and will pick it. I'm just tossing that out there. I want to have a discussion with all of you. So I think it's a beautiful shot, and I know that she loves it. So it's but I'm not gonna keep this one.
Okay. Inner Sanctum composite.
Yeah, I find this one really interesting too. And I looked at it for a long time, and it's just intriguing. You keep moving with it, and it's got this optical illusion quality, and then it's repeated on the inside. It's one of those things you could go on forever to infinity. But with this, I also want to, this doesn't have to have all the white cropped out, but I still want to see a little bit more clarity in that center portion. Can you zoom into that center portion, Michelle? Yeah. Yeah, still has a lot of clarity. Mm-hmm. How tightly can you zoom in? Mm-hmm.
Can you see that?
Yeah. And I know that these are certain size JPEGs, but I'd like to see a little bit more, darks in it, just to bring out the contrast of it and make it move. But I'm still going to hold on to this one. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay. Lamb of God, Matthias Church, Budapest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is beautiful. And I love the way you have captured the lights and the darks and brought out the design within the spirals, and the two animals to the left and right. And when we get to the lamb in the center, I'm brought in and I want to look at it closer and closer. And I'd like to see just a little bit more definition of the lamb, because I think it's a little bit blown out. So since we're in a competition, although I love this image, I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm not going to keep this.
Okay. Reflective art.
This is another one of those just extremely well done shots. I mean, you've gotten the texture of inside those holes, and that's just really beautiful. I mean, that's professional work and well done shot. But I want to see it say something else. So I'm going to not keep this one. Sorry.
Rights round.
Yeah. And this is one where your eye is drawn in right to the center. And you've kept clarity with all of it. And then your eye moves back up again. So I think this is very well done. And you don't even realize there are people there until your eye is drawn in and you start looking around. So I think I'll keep this one. This is well done.
Okay, and the last one, spiral staircase in reverse.
Mm-hmm. So this is one of the spirals that I just think it's really well done. But what I would suggest with this is to do a composite. You may have already done a composite, I don't know, but do a couple and then sandwich them and do the center of this image so you can bring out the definition of those lights that are way down in the center of the spiral, those white lights, because those are kind of blown out because you had to keep the rest of it. Our cameras are not set up all the time to do all that at once. But then the very center of this image, it doesn't say anything to me. It looks like it's maybe a smudge on the ceiling or the floor. So be creative. Put something in there. Put another light or make it a black hole or something. But Michelle, if you can zoom in to the
Can you see it?
Yeah, and see, I can't really. I mean, some things are great if they're just nebulous and mysterious, but these lights and these shapes, these 4 shapes, I want more definition there. They could be, and if you take 2 shots, I mean, this looks like it was probably done with a tripod. So take 2 or 3 shots and sandwich them and get more definition in the areas that have gotten blown out. And then either leave that floor neutral with the lights around it, or just take it out. But having a smudge there that doesn't say anything, it brings my eye in, and I want to find something that's meaningful. And then I'm frustrated with finding. I mean, nothingness is great, but don't quote me on that. But that's my suggestion. It's my subjective opinion. So keep it that. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I just want to encourage people and nudge people to keep having more fun and enjoying it. So do we have another one? I'm not going to keep this one because of what I just said.
Okay. No, that's all.
Okay. Great shot.
Uh-oh. Okay. First place color is Total Lunar Eclipse Blood Moon by Steve Director. Second place is Seashells by Michael Burris.
Can we get a comment from the?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Steve, are you here?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay. Steve? Steve?
Okay. Go to the second one then. He'll come back.
Okay. Michael, Seashells. You want to comment?
Yes. This obviously it's a composite. The photo was taken on the beach by Boca Raton, and I was kind of lucky that it was kind of a moody day. In fact, the whole time I was in Florida that time, it was pretty moody. And the
Can
rest
you turn on your video?
Oh, sure.
Can everybody turn their videos on? I really would like to see y'all. I mean, you're getting to see me. Come on.
And the rest of it was created the shells were created in a program called Dimension, which I just started playing with because I got excited about Adobe's 3D, when I started playing with 3D in Photoshop. Unfortunately, like, I don't know, many businesses do, they will sabotage their own products and come out with more expensive products, which they did. So anyway, that's my gripe. But it was rather simple, and Dimension gives you the opportunity to create lights and shadows exactly the way that you want them. And I think that I accomplished that here because it's a very soft kind of a shadow, and I don't know, I thought it was kind of comical.
I love it.
What's the name of the program?
Seashells, SEE.
No, the name of the program.
Oh, Dimension.
Okay.
Okay, we ready?
How large were the seashells?
You can make them any size that you want to.
I see.
They are fictional entirely.
I see.
And how did you make the turquoise red carpet?
I didn't. That was there.
Oh,
So that's why I took the picture. Actually, I was trying to do a series on lifeguard stations when I was down there, going up and down the East Coast on A1A.
oh,
And I got bored around Boca from Miami. And because
Yeah.
it all started to look exactly the same. And that turquoise is what attracted me to this this image. And I said, gee, that looked kind of cool with the walkway leading right into the turquoise. I'll be able to do something like with that.
Yeah. So what made you come up with the eggshells in the eyes?
Oh, I guess it was just, you know what? I can't tell you.
Your imagination.
It was strictly imagination, and then being, trying to be a little playful.
Great. Love it. Oh, who got first place? Is that person going to show his face?
Oh, Steve, are you here yet?
No.
I guess not. Okay. Let's move on to third place. That is Jurassic Arcs, and that was by Daryl Neal. And Daryl's in Norway or somewhere. So we have our kitchen, Midas Wife, composite by Michael again.
The subject, Midas's wife, was actually part of a Cirque du Soleil, part of a Cirque du Soleil act. And she had on this really interesting kind of a dress, and her hair kind of was that. So I converted her using Photoshop to make it look like it was gold. And I said, gee, that's kind of neat. And then I went back again to Dimension and created the rest of it. The background. And
so you created the background.
I had an idea once I created the woman. I said, gee, that would be kind of interesting with Midas. That's Midas's wife, and she's touching something that turns her into gold.
Cool. Michael?
Can anybody hear me now?
We can.
Oh, okay.
You won first place.
Yeah.
You were first place for your total lunar eclipse, Steve.
Thanks. I let Mike.
You're mute.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Could you repeat what you said before? No, we can't hear you. Can you hear us, Steve?
With my camera. 1 second.
You're on.
Yeah, but you can't.
Oops. You were on.
He must be losing connection.
He's got two. Does he have two cameras on?
You hear me now? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay. I'm very sorry. I've been watching the whole thing. I was using an external monitor that didn't have a camera. So I grabbed my iPad. Then I had to find the link. And you still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I have these hearing aids, and it connected to my hearing aids, which meant that you couldn't hear me, but I could hear you. So I think it's okay now. Anyway, thank you for choosing that image. The question that you asked, I think, about the moons, I did take all of those images over the period of several hours, starting with the full moon. And then I composited the individual images around the big image that you saw, which was the full eclipse. And as you may know, when the moon goes into a full eclipse, it turns red like that, or orange, or something like that.
Right.
It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Of course, there's another full moon. Actually, there's another eclipse coming up on May 16th in a few days. But you need to have clear skies, and you need to be someplace where there's no light. So, anyway,
so where did you take this one?
I actually took this on Cape Cod.
Oh, okay.
And so,
did you use a telescope or?
Oh, no. I used a 600 millimeter lens on and I set it up as a crop sensor, so it was 1.5. Crop sensor, and clearly had to put it on a tripod. Now, the interesting thing is is the moon is, well, the moon isn't moving, but the earth is rotating. Everything's rotating. So you have to constantly adjust just the camera to keep the moon more or less in center. And I had to, focusing is a little challenge. You have to use manual focus, believe it or not, to get all that detail.
Yeah, you did a great job.
It's amazing because the moon is a moving object, and you had a 600 millimeter lens. It must have had a very narrow aperture. Yeah,
well, first of all, it's pretty wide open. I mean, I'm shooting at a 6400 ISO, and I'm shooting it wide open. But I'm also not. You can't leave the exposure on for very long because otherwise things start blurring.
It's moving fast.
So it was a little bit of a challenge, but it was fun. I did have fun.
It's great.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Sorry I had all this trouble getting connected.
That's okay. Second, third honorable mention, and the second honorable mention is the juggler again, Michael Burris.
Sorry, guys, I gave the wrong person.
Well, I guess again it was principally using Photoshop, and then, well, I think this one I just used Photoshop on. It was really hard to get those spheres looking right. But I really liked the background image of the person and where it was, the setting, and I love the color of the magenta, and I thought it was wonderful, and the gray. So I thought, gee, this would make an interesting picture. She had a ball, so I said, okay, what if she had two? And what if she? Then I said, okay, let's add a bunch of balls and make her juggling.
Yeah.
So that's
what are they? What are they, Michael?
They are fantasy.
Okay.
It's just computer, just made in a computer.
So is the only thing that you did not create in the computer dimension is the woman, or is the woman also virtual?
No, the woman and the background. Only the spheres were created in dimension. The rest of it was, I just thought it was a nice image and with nice colors. So that's why I decided to.
So where did you shoot her?
This was in the Georgia Aquarium.
Oh, now I see. Yeah. So is that her reflection in the glass of the aquarium?
That is her reflection in the glass.
Wow.
And
I thought you had taken her and did another image of her.
No. And that's how I knew where to place the reflections of the spheres.
Yeah.
Where she was.
Nice. And then you just laid in the magenta.
No, the magenta was there.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Do they change the colors on that?
I don't know. I know it's glass, but it's not part of the aquarium. There's no fish or water behind there. I think it's just a decorative part of the aquarium.
Oh, okay.
But it is a great background. I'd like to pay the fee just to go back and and use it again.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yep.
Mono. First place is Circle of Hakataim. Again, Michael Burris, you're killing.
Oh, God.
You're killing us. Oh, Lord. He did not pay me, I swear.
I know. The three people, actually, the persons are actually me. This was, I found a nice foggy day, and I just decided to do something weird. So I did those, and the rest of it was, creation.
So tell me about the name.
Well, the name, as I understood it, was something that was almost satanic.
Okay.
And that's what those people were. And the person at the far end is supposed to be a ghost.
Okay. Yeah. You
And
heard you heard my comments, right?
yes, and in honor of Ukraine, I put Putin's picture on the wall.
Yeah. Well, I can equate him to Satan. I hope I'm not offending anybody.
Oh no! I got Putin posters in my room right now as we speak.
You may be offending Satan.
I'm
not
kidding.
sure.
I'm kidding.
Let it roll.
Let it roll.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
go. Second place, Coriolis effect. Michael Burris,
Oh God, this is.
on down.
Oh, wow.
Like you said, thank God for COVID because it gave you a lot of time to think. The person is actually a cutout from one of my mother's paintings, which was what she called perplexity. And I've used that cutout in a number of different images that I made. I had the background image from, again, my trip to Florida. And that's just a big, huge puddle in the foreground and the ocean in the background, which I softened up a little bit because it gets a little, I wanted to make it look a little misty. And the name Coriolis was, that's the effect of water spinning around in the bathtub. And if you go around to the southern hemisphere, it spins around in the opposite direction. So that's what I was trying to say. I don't know whether I, was successful with that. I was thinking about making a motion blur on them, but that would have defeated the purpose, I think.
Yeah. Nice, just like it is.
Cool, Michael. Third place is Rights Round, and that's Michelle Simmons.
Oh, great.
This is inside the Reichstag in Berlin.
Oh, wonderful.
Looking down.
Great shot.
Thank you.
Really nice.
You all know I only use an iPhone, and this was an iPhone 8 I took this with. Next, honorable mention, Mike Schaefer, Cirque de Mobilier. Mike?
Yeah, this shot was taken near not my friends, but friends of a friend of mine house. And I noticed that they had these wonderful contemporary outdoor furnitures, and they were all round, so I thought, well, that sounds pretty cool. And then of course it was later in the day, so the sun gave it a nice angle, so I came back at another time. And it's below this deck. Chairs, everything, the setup is below the deck. And so I set it all up and got a white cloth and put it on the round table and all that stuff and tried to get them organized and just right where it was a sunny day, so you got the nice angle I experienced earlier. And then the only challenge was it wasn't right below the deck. It was a little bit away from where I could stand. I couldn't stand right below the chairs. So I knew that was going to be a problem if I wanted to shoot it right overhead, so I just got a monopod and tied my camera to a monopod and stuck the monopod out as far as I could and shot.
See, there's where you need a drone, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Seriously, this would have been so easy with a drone.
No, it wouldn't. It's a beautiful shot.
A drone is going to move enough that I wasn't going to get the exact geometry I wanted, and I didn't want to mess around with it. I wanted it to come out of the camera as is, so you're right. I could have gotten with a drone, but with a steady camera and a monopod's a lot cheaper than a drone anyway. I could have it stable and all that stuff, and I could get it just the way I wanted it. But yeah, a drone would have worked, but at least the monopod's cheaper than the drone.
Yeah.
It came out.
Great shot. I'm so glad I gave you one. I was so worried.
Oh no! I'll just forget. I just forgot where you live. Don't worry about me.
Okay. Oh. Michelle, come save me.
Oh, shoot.
I will.
You're great.
Last honorable mention, Michelle Simmons, Dubai Eye. This was on the Dubai Arena. You all know I just got back from the
Oh, great.
in Dubai. I think all my pictures except for the naked girl were from Dubai.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you did the naked girl.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But I didn't do it thinking you were a lesbian.
Or that I was a guy.
Or that if you were a guy, you would like.
Hold on.
I for one didn't find the photo objectionable in the least.
Oh, I thought it was nice. It was a beautiful shot. Yeah. But you know, whenever I judge something and I see nudes, it depends on how old the people are, and it's a different mindset. So I just toss that in. So, I mean, look, come on, look what I've got on my wall. She's nude back there, right there. Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, with Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, it was almost the whole thing was nude. The Pope covered it all up, or that nasty creature who worked for the Pope. Where if you go to Sistine Chapel and you look in the lower right-hand side, you took the guy that whined about it all the time, who represented the Pope, and made him look like a weirdo, creepo devil, like with horns. That's real. Most tourists miss that, by the way. So you should check
I think
it out.
that's appropriate.
Yeah. That was funny. Michelangelo was just like, okay, you're gonna cover all my stuff up, you don't like all that nudity, and so he turned the guy that whined about it and complained about it and protested about it 24/7. He put him in the corner secretly where people would miss it, made him look like the devil with horns. Just, it's just so Michelangelo. But anyway.
I love it. And all the gargoyles on all the cathedrals look like priest.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Nice shots, everybody.
Yep. Great shots.
Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing.
Congratulations to everybody. You did great. It was fun, and you did a great job.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to name my photos correctly next time.
Thank you. Yeah, to all of you,